Hi, this is Sarah, the Stitchin Mommy, and it's Monday, August 16th, I think, 2021. Yes, August 16th. And I'm here for my weekly cross-stitching update, and as you can see, I'm back in my traditional stitchy spot where I used to always film prior to COVID-19, making everybody come home. My husband is still here, but he's in the other room. So I'm out here again today because my kids are all at school. Yay! So I updated my August frame right before I sat down because I'm really bad at making the time to do that unless you guys hold me accountable to change it out. So if I'm gonna be down here more often, I'll get this changed out more often. I can see all the different things. I kept thinking, I like the August one. I need to put the August one out, and I just never did. So these are from the Snowflower Diaries, and they're free on her blog. They're picture files, like JPEG files. So you just click on them and then you can download them, and they come in different languages even. So those are fun. This is my temperature garden from my Etsy shop. And I will show you, which is my first temperature design. And before I show you my progress, I have a small administrative announcement I keep forgetting to mention. I have a Facebook group, which is always linked below. It's called Stitch Along with Stitchin Mommy, I believe. And it's meant for people who are stitching my patterns to kind of share and collaborate and bounce ideas off of each other in that group. So it's not for stitching along with me personally, like the projects I'm personally stitching. It's for my patterns, whatever you can find in my Etsy shop. I think sometimes Facebook promotes my shop to random people, and so they'll come along wanting to join the group. So it's currently private, and you need to ask permission because I just want to make sure people in there are stitchers and people that are stitching my things. So the question I have is, which Stitchin Mommy pattern are you stitching or planning to stitch? So if they don't answer, I decline the request. And sometimes people are there looking to see what I have designed, which is not really the place for that. I'd prefer you just go to my Etsy shop to look at what I have available. And if you don't like anything I have, then there's no point in you being in the group. So just to let everybody know, that's what it's for. It's for people stitching my patterns, not stitching along with me personally. I'd love to see what you're working on. If you want to private message me on Instagram, I'm over there. I have a public account on Instagram. You can follow me, send me what you're working on over there. That's really fun. Or tag me in something that you think I would enjoy seeing. I'd love to do that. But that Facebook group is just for my patterns. Like if somebody's stitching this garden and they want to say, hey, what did you do for personalizing it? Or I want to see somebody else's done on this kind of fabric. You know, that's the kind of thing it's for. So anyways, that's what the Facebook group is for. Speaking of, this is another one of my temperature patterns, the one I'm working on this year. And I got the U done. I actually finished it this morning because I didn't quite get it done in the car yesterday. Next week, I'm curious. Let me see. I never checked this. Yeah, I think I might be able to stitch 2 letters next week because I already have the potential to stitch like half the G. So by the time I get to Sunday, I should have all the temperatures for G and U, which will be fun. So next week, you'll get to see 2. So this is on 28 count, ice blue, light blue, pale blue, mystery even weave, 1/1 full crosses, and I did the U. So it's a little milder than it was previously. We may have one more hotter orange in yesterday. I think got up to 100, but the forecast so far, the long-term forecast, which you know is never 100% accurate, doesn't seem like there's very many triple digits expected at all. So I may not get to those hottest colors, but you can still see a nice progression with the purples sometimes up here and the greens and the blues and then into the hots, oranges and yellows. So, and a tiny bit of red. So it's been fun. Now that my kids are full-time at school again, I should be able to get back to designing. I have some if you hear thumps in the background, it's Smokey playing. She was over here sleeping when I was getting set up, but now she's out there playing. So at some point she may come over here and play on camera, or I'll just go get her at the end and show you. But if you hear little thumps in the background, that's her. What was I gonna say? Totally lost it. Something about my temperature pieces, I think. Oh yeah, now that my kids are in school, I hope to have more time to design for Etsy. I have a customer who is requesting a specific design, so I want to work on that first, but then I hope to get to the fine-tuning the pattern for my next temperature piece, and maybe even working on a second temperature piece that might come out this year. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Let's see, my next travel stitching is the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Cozy Cafe Club. I have had a little bit of travel stitching time again now that my kids are back in school. My younger kids, where I'll have the most stitching time, have only been in school for 2 days, so it's not a ton of time, but I should get nice progress on this week because I'll be waiting for them all 5 days, so yay! Get some built-in stitching time. And here is where I'm at right now. This one is 25 count vintage cloth in the color Prim. You can find this at the Fat Quarter Shop, and I'm doing mine 1/1 full crosses with the called for colors for the beverages, and then my subbed out fancy flosses for the border. And so what I worked on this time was the pinks, some of these pinks that were up here in these bubbles, and then down here as well as the green rinds. So there's like kiwi, dragon fruit, and star fruit, I think, decorating the can of sparkling water. And this label is gonna say Fruity Bubbles. So I'm hoping to get this part done before the next one comes out on the 25th. And if I get it done earlier than that, I'll go back to the Prim Stitch series and try to get that one finished. I don't see that happening this week, but you never know, so maybe I'll show you real quick. Which one am I gonna do next? It's the Hand and Heart to God. Yeah, this one, number 12. I have one more of these to do, and then I can put them all together in a doll quilt for my daughter. That's the plan for these ones. So if for some miracle I finish part 5 of the Cozy Cafe Club, I'll start this one. I don't have it started yet, so there's no before. It will be like this on these the little cuts I already have pre-cut. Okay, oh, here it is. I don't have any progress to show you, but I'll go ahead and show you the before. This is my Mill Hill kit, buttons and beads kit that I'm working on every Monday. So since today's Monday, I should hopefully find time for this today to get a few stitches in. Yeah, so I guess I'll just show you my starting point, which is the same as last week. So there's no before. This is just what it looked like last time. So this will be to help you know what I'm going to be doing. It looks like whatever is right here will probably be the next color I choose. Yeah, so we'll see what that is. I don't know yet. That's a fun one to work on. I enjoy pulling that out once a week. And I didn't get to my Waterfall and Yosemite piece at all this week, and I didn't get to my visit Endor. I was going to work on that one this weekend as my kind of bonus stitching for one length of thread or something over the weekend for the Less is More group in Full Coverage Fanatics. However, I was just too busy. My daughter was a flower girl in a wedding on Friday. So Thursday and Friday were very full, and having all the kids start school throughout the week and figuring out times to pick up and drop off and get everybody acclimated and etc. Waking up early, the whole thing. So I was just either really busy or really exhausted. So I didn't get a whole lot of stitching time done for most of the week. And then the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I was hoping to maybe do my 2 focus pieces on those days that I had chosen for Arbitrary August because I hadn't gotten to them yet. So I figured, well, that visit indoor just needs to not happen because otherwise I won't get any time on my Arbitrary August pieces. So I decided not to work on it, which is a little bit sad, but it's kind of the way it goes sometimes. So no other bonus stitching. So I guess we can jump right into what I actually worked on plans wise. And I'm just noticing I didn't even write down really anything that I worked on throughout the week. So I'll have to double check, try to remember what days I worked on what. But anyways, I worked on my anniversary piece just a little bit more. This is by Soda Stitch, and you can find these patterns in their Etsy shop called Jeannie's Cross Stitch, I believe is the official US distributor for Soda Stitch. You may not find this listed, but she's really good at communicating. So if you email or send a message on Etsy and say, do you have this one? And she might be able to get it for you. So I did buy it there, but I haven't seen it there sometimes when I go back to link it. So it may not be readily available, but you could ask and see if they have it. So I'm making this into an anniversary sampler because we like to read books at night before bed. And so I'm making this a starry sky, and I'm going to put a little quote on the top and like our anniversary stuff on the bottom. So now I have 1 year to finish it. And I'm finally happy with my progress. It's been a while since I felt satisfied, and I stitched on it a little longer than I was normally going to because I wanted to get to a certain stopping point. I guess I have some black on my needle because I started to backstitch. So here is where I got to. So this is on 18 count beige Devosa, which is an even weave. And I'm stitching the crosses in with 2 strands, which is actually kind of puffy on this fabric. And Aida, I never have any trouble, at least regular Aida. Hand-dyed Aida might shrink, but regular Aida, 18 count, I don't have any trouble with 2 strands. This does seem a little bit puffy, but I'm okay with that. So I finished filling in my half-stitch sky on this side of the window and behind all of the bushes. And then I came in here and did the called for backstitching on that curtain. So there's some curtain backstitching over here, and they have all of this backstitched. I might do it still. I was just running out of time, so I decided not to keep backstitching. I'll just do 1 curtain and call it good. It has a nice flow to it. It is a little bit odd. This is so solid, and then this is not, but I think because the rest of the piece is only, you know, partially stitched and backstitched, that I'm hoping it'll work. And if not, for some reason, I can maybe add some more stitches in the curtains at the end if I don't think it looks right. But for now, I'm happy with that. When I come back to this, ideally I'll be able to work on this for at least 1 day in September. I can, back to when I do my family stitching, where I like to do at least one day every month. I will hopefully get more of that, like that other, the window pane and then the other curtain backstitched. That would be really nice. And then move on to, I think the man's head and the lamp are the next tallest things. Oh, and then the quote. I'm thinking I might just add the quote right now. Might as well. And I have that black on my needle. I'll probably backstitch the letters in black, so perfect. That's what I'll do next. That's what I'll do next. So I worked on that a little bit, and then that, honestly, I think I worked on for all the way through Thursday because I didn't have a lot of time. So whenever I sat down, I did a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more until I got to the end of my goal, which is to finish that window area. So by the time I picked up Fantasy Triptych, it wasn't until Saturday. And this is that one, Teresa Wensler. And I really enjoyed working on this time. I think because I was working in the blue of her dress. Actually, there's a bigger picture back here. I was working on all the blue in her dress because it was really easy to just follow the colors down the folds of the fabric in her dress. I was tempted to start in on the unicorn, but I figured I have a little bit less counting and I could probably get a little bit more done quickly by sticking with the one color, one shade. There was like 4 or 5 different colors that I stitched on, but they were all the blues. So I really had fun with that. At some point I do need to come up and do the background as well on her, but I did what was fun this time. And I used this for a challenge prompt on Facebook. So I wanted to get to 300 stitches and I did. So I'll go ahead and do the before and after of just her, so you can see what 300 plus stitches looks like. I think it was like 320 at the most, something. So this is 25 count, I think antique white, even weave. Her face is charted 1/1. There will be back stitching, but I'm gonna need to use a really fine sewing needle to backstitch that because they have some of the backstitching lines pierce the 25 count fabric. They're like halfway through the 25 count. It's nuts. So I'll be doing that later. But for now, I got a bunch of the blue done. So I think that's really fun. This is her shoe. She'll have a band at the bottom of her skirt, so that's why that's blank. And then she has a belt and a collar, and these spots are little medallions. So in specialty stitches, which I was tempted to do, but I decided no, I'll just stick with all the blue. There's still 1 or 2 more colors actually left in her skirt that I haven't done yet. But there were some fractional stitches in there as well. Oh yeah, I'll show you the whole thing. So there it's at now. Coming along. Every time I pull this out, I just get a little bit done on it, so I haven't really focused on it in a while, but every little bit is something. So I enjoyed that. That was fun. It's good to have good memories associated with this so that I can be excited to pull it out voluntarily and not just during Arbitrary August every year, because that's usually when it gets the most attention. Okay, so kind of organized so I have piles of what to put away later. What did I do next? Oh yeah, next was Nantucket Rose. And this one I didn't actually stitch on, but I did work on it. So as you remember, if you watched last week's video, I have done a conversion on this to be redheaded, and this will be Green Gables, because this will be Anne, because she reminds me of a scene in Anne of Avonlea where she's writing her novel on the beach, and that's what this reminds me of. So when I was making the conversion on the house, at first I was just, right, if you can kind of see, it's like light trim and roof and a darker front. So I was just kind of sticking with those colors, and I ended up with a green siding and a white roof and trim, which is the opposite of what the Anne of Green Gables house looks like. The real house that was in the movie, at least, is white with green trim and a green roof. So I needed to fix it and rip out whatever I'd done and adjust my conversion. So that's what I did. I frogged and worked out a conversion for what I will be doing. I just haven't actually stitched anything. So here is, I don't know what this looks like now. This is on 32 count gray even weave in, it's MCG Textiles. I don't know what kind of gray, but so the house is gone. Whatever I had there is gone, and I was really sad to not get to restart any stitching, but that's just kind of the way the timing worked. So I don't want to sabotage this week's Arbitrary August choices, but I do want to work on this more this year. So I'm hoping at the earliest convenience, I will hopefully plug this in for a rotation in September or October, wherever it fits. So I can start working on that house and then move on to everything else, because I really want to make progress in this one. It's really pretty. So that's that. Didn't work on those. Okay, so let's see. It's time to plan. So not a lot of progress, as you can see, but I'm going to move forward into Arbitrary August plans, which is something I made up 4 years ago. It's basically where you work on a random project every rotation throughout the month of August. The first time I did it, it was every day. I've done it every week. This time I'm doing 3 random projects every week and giving them 2 or 3 days. So I have my first rotation today and tomorrow. I'm going to do a small project, and these are projects chosen from my WIP list that I have not yet worked on in 2021. So that's why I'm excited to get to these, because they're ones I haven't gotten to yet this year. This one has duplicates of all of them on the same wheel, just because that's how this Tiny Decisions app works. If you have a certain number that's small, and a small enough list, it'll just double or triple them to make the wheel look pretty. And I forgot to do the non-repeating selection the first time, so you'll still see Winter Rose is not blacked out. So if Winter Rose is chosen first, I will spin again, because I'm not going to do any duplicates, and I already worked on Winter Rose the first month of August. So here we go. Let's see what I'm working on this week in this category. Ooh, Friends of the Library. That's kind of a fun one. I, again, don't naturally gravitate towards it. It's needlepoint, and it's all continental stitches. It's a kit, and I recently put it on scroll frames to kind of help keep it from warping, since it is a continental 10 stitch. So that'll be fun. It's got some kitties, and I am hoping to, the other thing with that one that kind of throws me off is it's not exact with counting, because it's more of a painted canvas kind of situation, and the pattern is just this block is this color, and my brain likes knowing exactly how many X's are gonna be what color. So I've kind of readjusted it to try to be that way, and I think going forward it'll be easier now. But I am also working from the bottom up, which is not usually how I work, so the whole thing is just a little bit weird. So that's why it doesn't normally come out, but I am excited to get a little bit of love on that one. So let's write that down. And then we'll move over to my medium list, and there's still 5 options. And I have, let's see, 4 slots left this week and next week. So one of these won't get picked this week, but that's okay. Maybe I'll pull it out some other time just to make sure I touch everything. And some of my smalls won't get picked either. So I may try to go through in the rest of the year and try to plug these in at some point. So here we go. What's my first one for Wednesday and Thursday? Tapestry. That's a fun one. It's by Ink Circles, and that one's fun. All fancy floss. Shuffle the options. I don't know. Sure. Okay. Oh no, that messed it up. I'll just reset it. I messed it up by shuffling it. I didn't know what that would do. I didn't need to do that. So if something gets picked that I already worked on, I'll just spin again. So that's unfortunate. Oh well. Chaplin's Garden. This is a nice one to get on the weekend because it's big and confetti heavy. So hopefully I'll get some decent progress on it, working on it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This is also a kit, worked with kit floss, and it's intense. But recently I've been happier with it because I'm highlighting my chart. I finally broke down and started highlighting the chart, and it is going a lot faster. So that's exciting. I will go get those and come back and share them with you, along with some other plans I have in the mix coming up for September. So stay tuned. Okay, so this is Friends of the Library. This is, ironically, technically a small piece compared to all my other projects. And it's quite large, but it's probably because the count is fairly small. It is 12 count fabric, and it uses, or canvas actually, and it uses yarn. So it is different than any of my other things, and it's not technically cross stitch, but I consider it a whip because otherwise I would never work on it. So I finally put it on these cheap scroll frames that I bought at Joann's ages ago. I don't love them, and I normally hate working on scroll frames, but because I'm an in-hand girl. But I figured for keeping the canvas from warping with the half stitches, I think this is the best bet for me. So it's colored, but you can see the stitches down here in the wool, tapestry wool, that have been completed. So I have a little bit here done, and then all this black. I was trying to do completely finished across the bottom, which I believe I got last time. That looks like that stitch is missing. Have to work on that one. Looks like I'm missing one stitch right there. But I will be choosing colors from the bottom, so I might pick some of these cat colors in the tail of this kitty cat to start with. So this is my before picture, and I may need to, here, I'll do a little, I don't know, I'll probably have to do an up and down one with this one at this point. So that's that one. And then my next one, oh, I didn't get the cover. So here is my Ink Circles Tapestry. At some point, I decided it's fun to maybe pick my favorite of each different designer and try it. So this is the one I liked the most, and I decided to convert it to some Victorian mottos that I had, Victorian Motto Sampler Shop. It calls for all general arts, has a DMC conversion, but I went ahead and found some of these Victorian mottos that I had from mostly from actually an Eliza Bell Cox sampler pack that was available at one point that went along with a different pattern, but they were all really pretty colors. And then there was a couple that I subbed out for some monthly Thread Club colors that I had in my stash as well. And I'm not part of their Thread Club anymore, but I was a part of it for maybe a year or something. So this is on, it looks like 28 count antique white Jobelin, and it's 1/1 full crosses, and I believe I made it to the top. So I think this is the top of the design. I started in the middle and was kind of working around and figured I'd focus on this quadrant, because when I hold my fabric with my left hand and then I stitch over here, I want to be able to work from the top down and get this stuff done first so that I don't have to cover up the finished stitching as much, and I'll work my way. I guess it doesn't, yeah. So I figured I'll work over here, which is the top right, which is a little bit odd depending on what I usually do, but because reading, I like to start top left. It kind of makes sense to my brain, but I'm going to start in this quadrant. So now that I've reached the top, I'll probably be working away, you know, over here, and maybe I might even do kind of this thing, but we'll see. We'll see how the motifs go, if I want to kind of fill in this way and go around, or if I want to just kind of go across and kind of work my way down like that. I'll see how everything flows. So pretty colors, kind of soothing, working on a piece like this, so that'll be fun. And then, what was the last one? Oh yeah, it's right here. Okay. Chaplin's Garden. This is another kit. It's by Jan Lynn. This, I believe, is Marty Bell's artwork. Yeah. And this is Chaplin's Garden, if I didn't say. It's an oval design, and my parents bought me this kit and a open-backed frame. I think I'll need to get my own mat cut whenever it's done. But they chose this because my motto has often been, the more colors, the better. So when my mom saw this, no, there's a whole bunch of colors in this one. And that, she's not wrong. But it's kind of overwhelming. And based on the pattern, it was just a little bit too much at the time. But since I've started to highlight it, I think it's going better. And I moved my way to the top. So now I'm working from the top down. I think that's also going to help. Here it is. It's on light blue 14 count Ada that came in the kit. Since it's stored in a different section, the roll gets creased. So I don't like having all these folds and stuff in my fabric, but maybe I'll start storing it in my blueprint organizer with the rest of my tubes so that it won't get squished. But this is how far I got. When I first started it, I started in the center and did a lot of this house. And at some point I came down, there's like a patch of grass that comes around here, and I did that at one point. But I do want to work from the top down. So that's why I decided the last few rotations were up here in the sky. So you'll see some more work up here, most likely. But 3 days on this will hopefully see some progress. Here, let me get it over here. Maybe we can have a nice before picture. So this one used to be one I avoided like the plague. It's one of my oldest whips, but like as you can see, the confetti is pretty intense. And if you're working from a paper pattern without highlighting, it was definitely tricky. So, all right, so that's that one. Those are the 3 Arbitrary August picks I'll be working on this week. So hopefully I can go back to normal, have a little bit more stitching time regularly every day. And I also hope to work on my waterfall at Yosemite again for a few stitches every day, get back to that. So going forward, I have started to plan September because it's my birthday. I'll be turning 40 at the beginning of September, so I had to do something a little special. I had already been planning on starting this pattern, Hibiscus Fairy, by Heaven and Earth Designs, for my birthday. I had kind of had that plan going the entire year. That plan is not changing. I will be starting this probably the week of my birthday. However, there's a couple other projects that I've kind of either had planned on starting and they didn't work out, or I would really like to start, or I should start, whatnot. So then I thought, well, okay, I'm turning 40. One start isn't quite enough, right? You got to do something more special. So I decided I'll start 4 things and 1 new thing every week. And I believe I will still be trying to do my 3 projects a week rotation, including my family pieces again with at least 1 day on each. So they'll get some of the smaller rotations. I'll do 2 family pieces instead of 1 smaller medium piece. Except for my son's piece at the end of September, I'll give him a full 2 days because it's his birthday in September also. So when it's that person's month, I want to give him a little bit more time. So he'll get a little bit more time at the end of September. Everyone else will get 1 day, and I will start 4 new projects, likely all in the large category, so I can spend the whole weekend working on them to get a nice good start on them. So Hibiscus Fairy will be 1 start. I also have Butterfly Rose Cross, which I never managed to start when I was planning to. I forget what came up now, but something happened and I decided I couldn't put the time into it that I wanted to. So I went ahead and scrapped the new start, but I have it ready, have the fabric ready. I still need to finish removing the background manually in Pattern Keeper. It comes with the background removal, a version in Heaven and Earth Designs that's already removed the background, but I had already bought this one, so I'm doing it myself. I'm going to be using some pretty blue splotchy fabric by Hand Dyeing Duo. They're on Instagram, and this is 28 count, so I'll be doing it 1/1 on this, and I think that'll be really pretty. So that'll be start number 2. I'm not sure, other than my Hibiscus Fairy, which will likely be the weekend closest to my birthday, all the other ones, I don't know what order I'll start them in. This is the other one that I kind of wanted to start sooner than later, and my daughter did too. So let's put this in here. This is technically just called Butterfly, but I'm going to be calling it Butterfly Cat because clearly it's a butterfly cat. I got the max color version. This is also Heaven and Earth Designs, and I am going to be stitching this on 28 count Nessie by Picture This Plus. 1/1 full crosses again. All of these I believe I'm going to do 1/1 full crosses, even my Hibiscus Fairy. A lot of my full coverages I like to do a half stitch, but I think on that one it would look nice with a full cross because it's kind of a little bit more of a line art pattern with crisp edges and things. So I think it'll look better in a full cross. So I'm going to go ahead and do that one full cross. Even though it'll take longer, I think it'll be worthwhile, and I think it will look really nice. The last one I was going back and forth on, and it is still technically subject to change, but I think when I settled on this one, I think I'm happy with this because it's one that there's a lot of fab patterns that I kind of have been wanting to start, so this is a hard decision. But I'm going at this point with my Rosewood Manor Black Lace sampler, and I don't think I have a Rosewood Manor started yet. I have one or two others in my stash that are not started, but this one was a birthday gift to me last year by my mom. So I figured, well, that makes sense because it's a birthday gift. I should start it on my birthday or near my birthday for my birthday. So this one is a fun one. It's technically black work. Around here there are some cross stitches, a lot of back stitching, and then this interior part is a 1/1 portion. So I will be stitching this on, again, 28 count. This looks like it's a mystery fabric. It came in a grab bag somebody gave me. So it might be linen, it might be even weave. I'm not 100% sure. But it had a nice thicker texture to it, so I liked that compared to another 28 count linen that I had seen that was very see-through. So it could be a cashel or it could be a Lugana, not positive. And I'm gonna go with Deepest Blue by Victorian Motto instead of DMC 310. This color is equivalent to DMC 939, which is really dark navy. And I think I'll have more fun with that. And I have enough of it. There's 20 yards there. They say you need 4 skeins of DMC. Yeah. So this is roughly the equivalent of 4 skeins of DMC. So maybe a little bit less, but I think I'll be okay. I'm frugal. So that's exciting. I'm gonna do all of these colors. I'll do called for. I believe those are DMCs also. Yeah, all of this is called for DMC. So this is fun. I am excited about this. I'm not sure if I'll start with the 1/1 or start up here in this or do a little bit of both. Maybe you guys can help me pick. But those are my 4 planned starts for my birthday in September, and I'll do one every week. If you would like to play along, feel free to join in. You don't necessarily have to have the same pattern. Like if you wanted to work on starting or working on a Heaven and Earth Designs, you could do that. You could, if you want to start or work on a Heaven and Earth Designs with no background, because I'll be starting 2 of those. That could be a fun thing to join me in. If you want to work on a black work, either a black work piece or a Rosewood Manor piece, or something with a cat, something with a cross, or something with a fairy. any of those things that are kind of sort of related, feel free, join in. I don't know what hashtag, if I should use a hashtag. I'm terrible at Instagram these days, so I don't even know if I would post on there, but if it's my birthday Sal, I should probably have a hashtag and I should probably post with it. So let's see. It could just be Stitchin Mommy turns 40 Sal, maybe. I'm sure that's probably not used. So if you want to join in with something related to the things I'm going to be starting, it doesn't have to be the exact same pattern, but if it's slightly related, feel free. I'd love to see it. I'd love to have you celebrate with me. So that's all I have for you, I think, today. So I will wrap this up and post it and hopefully have some stitching time today. So with that, have a wonderful week and happy stitching. Bye. I almost forgot to go find Smokey and share her with you too. So here's Smokey for those of you who love Smokey. You gotta look at the camera. Were you eating? Were you just having some food? Yeah, I think so. She's getting a little bigger, but she's still small. And she's still no biting. She's still a sweetheart. Yeah. We love having her around, playing with her. And she's she's very precious. She'll nap all over the place. She'll nap on my lap. She loves to nap on my chest, probably because she can feel my heartbeat. And then the other day, my son was sitting in one of my recliner chairs in front of the TV, and he was all leaned back, and she decided to sleep on his chest. So it was so sweet. Very sweet. So we love her. We're very thankful for her. She's been doing really well. Yeah. Yeah. So there's your Smokey update. Until next week. Bye.